We've talked about truth as something living and about how our lives help express it. Now, there's another step: listening. Not just hearing sounds or reading words, but really listening. Being open to something outside our own preferences. Truth sometimes comes to us through another person, a book, an event, or even a sudden moment of clarity. And when it does, something happens inside us. We either recognize it or we resist it. That quiet reaction is the beginning of an inner conversation with reality. This idea goes back a long way. In the Hebrew Bible, the famous line, "Hear, O Israel," isn't just about sound, it's a call to be attentive, to listen in a way that actually changes how you live. Listening in that sense is ethical. If you truly hear something true, you're expected to respond to it, not just agree with it in theory. Later Jewish tradition built on this by saying that listening isn't a one-time event. It happens in community, over time. People wrestle with what they hear, question it, discuss it, and slowly integrate it into life. So listening is not blind obedience. It's a living process of understanding and response. In the teachings of Yeshua, the Hebrew rabbi from Galilee, a Nazarene, there's a repeated phrase, "Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear." That line is striking because everyone technically has ears. The point is that hearing and recognizing are not the same thing. Two people can hear the same message, one feels deeply moved, and the other shrugs it off. The difference isn't in the words, it's in the readiness of the listener. Buddhist teaching connected to Siddhartha Gautama explains this in psychological terms. When we hear something, it doesn't enter an empty mind. It meets a mind ready full of habits, memories, and expectations. If a teaching fits with our deeper sense of truth, it resonates. If it challenges our ego or our fears, we may resist it. In that way, listening becomes a mirror. It shows us the state of our own consciousness. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus made a similar observation. He said that truth, or order, is common and available to everyone. Yet many people live as if each have their own private reality. In simple terms, truth may be present, but people often aren't paying attention. Real listening requires letting go of the assumption that reality must match what we already believe. Taoist philosophy, associated with Laozi, adds a quieter perspective. It teaches that ultimate reality can't be fully captured in words, yet words can still point toward it. Listening here means turning in to subtle harmony rather than grabbing onto rigid definitions. When we cling too tightly to certainty, we stop listening. When we relax a bit, we become more receptive. Across these traditions, one shared idea appears. Truth isn't just delivered to us like a package. It's something we meet. The outside message and the inside response come together, and that meeting point reveals a lot about us. Recognition often feels like resonance. That quiet sense of "this rings true." Resistance, on the other hand, often feels tense. We get defensive, dismissive, or uncomfortable. Neither reaction is useless. Recognition helps us grow. Resistance shows us where fear, attachment, or identity might be getting in the way. That inner dialogue isn't a failure. It's actually a sign of responsibility. If truth is alive and we participate in how it appears in the world, then listening becomes one of the most important things we do. The way we hear or mishear ideas affects how they are lived out in families, communities, and history. Listening also reminds us of something humbling. Truth doesn't depend on our arrangement to exist. If we recognize it, Truth doesn't become more true. If we resist it, truth doesn't disappear. What changes is our relationship to it. Each moment of listening becomes a chance to adjust, to grow, or to dig in our heels. Over time, a pattern shows up. Truth rarely arrives in a loud, overwhelming way. More often, it comes indirectly, through a story, through someone else's experience, through memory, or through a quiet intuition that won't go away. It usually requires patience, a willingness to sit with discomfort, a willingness to question our first reaction. Recognition then is not the same as finally having the truth. It's more like a door opening. What we understand today can deepen tomorrow. Listening never really ends. It becomes a lifelong practice of staying present and responsive to reality as it unfolds. And that naturally leads to humility. To truly listen is to admit we don't understand everything yet. It means accepting that truth might speak through unexpected people, traditions, or life events. History reinforces this lesson. Generation after generation has listened, resisted, changed their minds, and listened again. Their writings and teachings aren't proof that they reached perfect certainty. They are records of an ongoing conversation in what is real and what is not. So listening and recognition show us the inner side of participating in truth. Something outside us speaks, something inside us responds. By paying attention to those responses, without shame and without denial, we learn where we are still growing. Truth remains alive, speaking in different ways across time and culture. Listening is how we meet it. Recognition and resistance together map our inner landscape, helping us slowly integrate what is real. In the end, participating in truth is less about loudly claiming certainty and more about quietly staying open, discerning, and humble enough to keep listening as life continues.